Okay, I was prepping this episode yesterday and an email came in via the website. If you ever want to send in any case studies or questions that you want us to answer, please do so. We might not get to all of them, but I go into the team inbox, and because it's a team inbox, Rach and Jess are in there as well. Sometimes I see stuff, I'm like, ooh, that's interesting. So I'll read this. Anonymous from Tasmania. Hi team, I'd love your thoughts on a rent versus buy dilemma as I start my career next year. I'm 30, finishing uni, and about to begin full-time work as a nurse. That's pretty cool that we're starting at 30. So they've lived some life, got some experience in the early 20s, and Anonymous is like, you know what? I want to be a nurse.
Or drawn out a 10-year nursing
Or
degree.
done that. Right now, my partner and I live rent-free about an hour from the city due to his work, which means I'm able to invest around, get this, $1,000 to $1,300 a fortnight. I know this is a privileged position, but once I start my new job, I'll likely need to move closer to the city. Here's where I'm stuck. I have around 40K in ETFs. I own 50% of a house outright in my hometown where my family currently lives. I'd rather not access the equity due to family dynamics, and we can get to why you probably wouldn't anyway. In the future, maybe in 10 years, if my family moves out, I'd consider renting that house to help offset the costs of renting closer to work. Hometown's obviously out of the city. So here we go. So do I buy a home in my 30s and 40s near work and start paying the mortgage down now, or rent when I move, stay flexible, and keep focusing on investing heavily into ETFs, which I really enjoy, and possibly look at buying much later in life with a big deposit or close to outright? I'm not really a homely person, quote unquote. I don't care about decorating or renovating. I just want to live. I just want to live closer to work and make smart financial decisions. I'm also unsure if I'm mentally ready for a mortgage yet, even though I worry about falling behind if I don't buy. What would you consider in my situation? Thank you so much. A lot to unpack there, Johnson and Rach. What are we doing?
Oh, well, I think we need to just maybe take it easy for a bit. And I think it's going to be a big change working full-time for a start, right? So I think we get that under our belt. That might mean renting for 6 or 12 months just to find our feet closer to work and see how that's all going. 40, I can't see there's any sort of cash amount other than the 40 in the ETF. So I'm not sure that they'd be in a position to buy now anyway, given the property prices.
Well, they'd have to, liquidate the ETFs potentially.
Yeah, but even with 40K, it might be a little bit tight. So we're probably not buying now anyway. So we're probably just continue.
It is Tasmania.
Yeah, but if it's Hobart or Launceston, which are the only two cities there, aren't they?
You might call Burnie a city if you live out.
So I don't know. But in any case, I would probably just take a chill for 6 months, 12 months, get some sort of rental, get our work underway and nail that with the view of seeing how that all feels. And then like the big one for me is I'm not really a homely person and I'm not sure I'm ready for a mortgage mentally anyway. So I think we've got to continue to rent or start renting if you're living at home, and then just feel your way into it. And then when the stars align, you say, okay, actually I've got a bit of cash. I go and get a borrowing capacity from someone like Rachel. I can then say, mentally, can I get my head around that? Now I'm earning the dollars, because we're not even earning the full-time income yet. So we don't, in our bank account, see the money coming in. So, we love to take on the world, but probably one step at a time would be my thoughts. Rach?
Yeah, I'd completely agree with that, because if you took all the the other details out of here, it's always, well, yeah, great, get into the market as soon as you can. If you can get in. But when you see things like, I'm not sure what I'm doing, I'm not a homely person, and I'm not mentally ready for a mortgage, it's okay to rent. Yeah. It's absolutely fine to rent, find your feet, and you might really have this desire to buy to live in, or you may never do that, and that's also okay. You can invest otherwise in other things. But I don't think from what you've written there, I don't think a mortgage in the short term is in your agenda.
I'm going to go a little bit off script here for a little bit.
Unusual?
Yes. Right now, my partner and I live rent-free an hour from the city due to his work, which means I'm able to invest around that amount. Once I start my new job, I'll likely need to move to the city. So we don't know much about the partner here, and I know it's anonymous is a chick because I saw her name, but the partner, guy or gal, irrelevant really. Are we living in some mining cottage rent-free because of his work? Or is it because she says here, an hour from the city due to his work?
Yeah, so they've moved.
Or we live with family rent-free and old mate works out there as well.
Yeah,
okay.
I took that as he's got it or he.
Well, whoever the partner is,
yeah,
partner.
So partner's got a job outside the city and they're covering his rent.
Yes.
Yeah, I read it that way as well because her family live in the property that she owns.
Yeah, and she doesn't live in that. No. So the question is, I'm actually going to go there. Where is the partner in this? You're 30-year-old, finishing uni, starting your career. Is the relationship, are you guys together forever?
They're catching up on the weekends.
Yeah, but I just and I'm happy to be wrong, and I probably am, but I'm just pausing. Someone's going to have to move. If she wants to go into the city to be closer to work, I know it's an hour away. It's not far.
But it is in Tasmania.
Yeah, it's about 200 kilometres probably. But that's just in the back of my head, there's a lot going on here. When she says, do I buying a house to live in, is that you only? Is it with the partner? Because there wasn't, and I'll just read it, and this is where I really geek out. So do I buy a home in my 30s, rent when so the only reason, just sometimes with the wording, do we buy a home?
Well, I would say they've got separate finances. And
that's fine, but surely at some point there has to be we are buying a house to live in.
Yeah, there's no we in this conversation. Like partner could have been not even mentioned for where I'm reading it anyway. But if the situation was, okay, we've got enough money to buy a property now and we want to move to the city, and that was just a one-off thing to go out to that hour away sort of scenario, then go and buy in your Launceston or your Hobart.
And I'm probably, looking for a story that there isn't a story here. But if they don't live free for his or her work, can they both move an hour in, and will their salary, the partners, get a salary increase, and then we both move to the city and partner commutes back an hour? I don't know. Anyway, a lot of moving parts. I just wrote down a couple of comments. Just on the left behind thing, I know a lot of 30-year-olds, and I know a lot of 30-year-olds don't have 40K in ETFs and own half a house. So mortgage-free. So I think I would implore you to know that you're very well established financially and you're not going to be left behind. But what else?
And just maybe before you go on with that, like I don't like when people say I'm falling behind. Like it's just it's not about everyone else. It's about what you can do at the time.
Yeah, but society makes us think that way.
I know, we've got to stop that, don't we? Or try and shield ourselves from
we do,
that.
Yeah.
It affects our decision making.
Especially 30 is a very prime age to feel that way too. I think 30 is that age where you go, what have I
Yeah,
done?
and this person may have made that conscious decision to party in their 20s and then go and study. Like, that's fine. The person who might be financially ahead of them, if we were comparing, didn't party.
Yeah.
Right? Simple as that. Or didn't
I just
travel.
want to
I
live
don't know.
closer to work and make a smart financial decision. Yeah, so if you are going to rent okay, so if you're going to do that and you want to make a smart financial decision, it means that either you're going back to the partner on the weekends or the partner's coming into town on the weekends. So whatever that looks like, the smart financial decision is the 1-bedroom apartment in Hobart or whatever, because you'll go back to the partner most weekends.
To rent.
Or if you're renting and partner's coming into the city every weekend, do you want a bigger apartment? So it could cost more. So I think the partner does play into this. The one thing with the house that you own 50% of, that's completely off the table because we're not borrowing against that to buy a house to live in because it's not deductible anyway. You wouldn't use the equity in a property that you had as an investment to fund a house to live in.
Well, a lot do.
You would.
ya?
But
Yeah,
the only
absolutely.
complication with that, it still would be you can completely do that. But the reason she wouldn't is because there's family dynamics. So if she's got other family on title, they would have to guarantee that loan, and not wanting to ask them to do that is probably the reason she doesn't want to use it.
She'd pretty well,
So,
they'd
okay, whoa.
put it off the table.
So both of you meerkats are saying if you had an investment property with equity, you would borrow against it for your PPOR.
We did not say that.
I would
That's what-
absolutely do that.
I wouldn't do that.
No.
But
You'd sell the bastard and not have any debt.
well, no.
No.
Oh,
But
gee,
in this
this
case,
is another
in
conversation.
this
Yeah,
case, if you've
yeah.
got family living in there and there's a reason not to sell it, generally, yes, an investment property, you'd sell it to buy your PPOR. But there is no reason that you couldn't borrow against an investment property that you wanted to keep for other reasons, like for this, it's her family, and borrow for a PPOR. There's no reason that you wouldn't do that. It's not. It's still completely. The purpose of those funds are still for the PPOR. It's just secured against an investment property.
No, but where Glenn's probably going with that is, reading between those ears, is to say, well, you want to use cash as your deposit for your owner occ to keep the debt down because it's considered bad debt, right? Whereas, so if you're doing that, you're getting equity out of your investment. So you're basically borrowing 105% if you're paying stamps to buy something that is your home to live in that none of it's tax deductible.
It's not tax deductible, but if that's what you wanted to do, you could absolutely do that.
Yeah, you physically
If you didn't have
can.
the cash.
Oh, yeah, I'm not saying
financially.
you physically can't. You
Yeah.
physically can.
But you would, he's saying, well, maybe sell that property so that you've got a cash lump sum to go and
Most
put
people
down.
would absolutely
Yes.
do that.
But
Yeah,
if that
100%.
property is in a blue chip region, it's going to experience growth, then you've got two assets that are working. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we all agree that find a cheap rental for next
Yeah.
year, do a 12-month lease, start your career, rent, chat or get off the potty with partner if they're not, I don't know, like there's probably no story there. I just like to be a bit spicy.
And
I
don't get a
reckon-
mortgage until you're mentally ready for
Yes, totally.
I just did a bit of Google mapping. I reckon, Anonymous, you are living in Triabunna.
Why?
It's about an hour from Hobart. There you go.
But what's,
There's
No, it's
lots of
just a
places
nice
in our
coastal town.
Right.
Yeah, just.
but is there a mine there or,
no, just
but what's the partner do to get a furnished,
probably works
Be-
on a fishing boat or.
could be, what? I don't know many fisher boat owners that get free accommodation part of their
Probably lives on the
job.
boat, mate.
Anyway.
Anyway,
I mean, and just as an underline, in these situations, what you could do, Anonymous, flick it back. What would you tell your best friend to do if this was their situation? And you'll probably find your answer. You might not too, but anyway, good little chat there. Hey, it's Glenn here. Thank you so much for watching today's video. You made it to the end. Can I ask a favor? Can you hit that like button and maybe hit subscribe if you want to get notified when we release further videos just like this one, whether you watch the Money, Money, Money podcast or Retire Right. And remember, if you want to learn more about investing, I've got an investing book, The Quick Start Guide to Investing. And there's a link in the description to get your hands on a copy. Thank you so much. Bye.